I'm Sarah McDowell, and this is SEO in 2024.
Sarah, what's your number one SEO tip for 2024?
Glad you asked me that question. So my tip for SEO in 2024 is about embracing change and not getting worried about challenges and obstacles that come our way, because it's all part and parcel of working in SEO.
So SEO has always been about change to a certain degree, but it feels like it's changing even faster now. Is that a fair reflection?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So I think just in the last sort of year alone, so if we look back at 2023, the amount of big changes and updates that Google announced or that came out felt big, and they just seem to be constant and always there. But there is something that I would say about this, is that what we do have to remember is that Google is always changing its algorithms. It's always changing its search results. It's always testing. It's always, because that's what it does. That's what its mission is to test new stuff. And it's all about user experience. So unfortunately, that does mean a lot of change. I read an article about Search Engine Journal, and in 2021, it was estimated that Google did 5,000 changes alone. So that just sort of, to give listeners and readers a sort of, that's what's happening. That's what's going on. It's always changing.
That's quite a lot. So that's 13.69 changes a day. So you don't necessarily want to keep track of that every single day. So are you saying that SEO shouldn't even bother to keep up to date with all the changes that are happening?
Well, I'm not saying not to bother, but it's just, so what I always recommend is most SEOs will have a strategy or a roadmap, okay? So they've planned out what their projects are, and they're normally aligned to business goals and business targets and all of that lovely stuff. Now, updates and algorithm changes, the core ones, the big ones, happen all the time. But you don't necessarily have to jump off what you're working on right now to then go and focus on it, because otherwise you're just constantly catching up, aren't you? Yes, you do need to look into it. If an update or algorithm change is rolled out and you see a drop in traffic, or it has negatively impacted you in some way, then yes, of course, you need to take a breath, have a look at what's happened, and figure out, okay, what is my strategy? What can I do about this? But yeah, if after a big change, things are like the same, or you haven't seen a massive bad change in the wrong way, then don't deviate from your strategy or plan, because you've put your strategy and plan together for a reason, right?
And in terms of actually keeping up to date with the changes that are happening, I guess that if it's really important, then multiple people will tell you about it. So it's okay. You can plan for it. I mean, I'm thinking, a couple of years ago, Google made some changes with its mobile results. Obviously, GA4 was a big change in terms of tracking. At the moment, we've got search generative experience, and you're going to hear about those kind of things from multiple people all the time.
And to add to that, so there's a lot of talk when Google removed FAQ snippets from search results. And I also remember early in the year, Google used to show carousels of podcasts in Google search results, and they don't do that either. There's two things here. So yes, they're changing their algorithms and how, ranking factors and what matters to them. But they're also things that are around now, like the FAQ snippets and the podcast carousels. Things might not always be there. Google will take things away, and we can't control that. Google controls that. So it's about accepting that, I suppose, as well.
It's accepting it, but you also have to try and work clever and focus on the things that you think are going to make a difference. And when you're intending to hopefully rank for some keyword phrase, you want to look at the SERP, you want to see what competitors are ranking there, but you also want to have a look at what features are in the SERP for that particular phrase. And you hope that the SERP's not going to change that much over time.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, like there will be core elements that stay the same. So, for example, people also ask, or like answer boxes, or things like that, or how they show YouTube carousels and things. Like, I'm very aware that I've just said all these things, and next week we might find out Google's removed one of them. But yeah, like you always have to look at the landscape, look at the search results and see, okay, how can I boost my visibility? There's also a point about ranking fluctuations as well. If you are sort of constantly on a daily basis looking at your keyword rankings, especially if you're looking at individual ones, that's going to cause you a headache because these change all the time, okay? Because we know that Google's changing its algorithms, changing what it's showing to people in search engine results pages, right? Another thing there is don't get too hung up. Like, yes, if a keyword drops like a couple of positions and stuff, keep an eye on it and make sure that there's no trends of it like going, or like look at it in a topic. So obviously we all know that content and pages ranks for a handful of keywords and stuff. So it's better to look at sort of broader scale, look for trends basically. Don't get caught up on singular ranking fluctuations. Be more, I don't know, programmatic about it.
So how do we know when trends start to matter? Because as you say, Google can experiment by seeing what kind of impact changing a ranking can have on things like click-through rates. So rankings can fluctuate massively very quickly over time, but you want to get a feel for how your site's doing in terms of likely organic traffic and how much appearance your site's getting obviously on the SERP itself. So what trends do you look at, and after what period of time do you actually start to take notice of something and make a decision to change the way you do something?
Yes, very good question. So I would always recommend keeping an eye on your most popular content. Okay. So the pages and the articles that you know are getting decent traffic a month, and they're giving you decent traffic and you're getting conversions from them. Okay. So those are the ones that are the most important. Obviously, you've got other articles and other content that will be ranking, driving traffic, driving conversions. But I would prioritize your hero content, let's call it. Yeah. So it's always good to keep an eye on it on a weekly basis. But what I would do is take a look at that page, have a look at the different keywords. So not just the singular one. Obviously, you'd have like your most important one because it's the most popular, but have a look at all the keywords and have a look over like a monthly basis or a few monthly basis, because yeah, you could get caught up looking on it a week or a daily basis, and you're just going to constantly be catching your tail off thinking that you have to change something when actually it's just Google changing what it wants to show people. So yeah, and have a look at the key metrics. So sort of like impressions over a month, clicks over a month. Okay.
But essentially what you're saying is look at your most important pages. You know, if you've got thousands of pages on your site, there's no point in tracking what's happening with every single blog post, because first of all, you know, you're only talking about, you know, a little bit of traffic probably from each blog post, and secondly, you're not necessarily going to convert well from those blog posts. So if you focus on your hero content and you do some kind of overarching measure on traffic or impressions, as you say, from those key pieces of content, if that goes down significantly, then it's something to look at.
And also, like, new content might also become a hero or a really important piece of content, because after a few months that it's been live in Google and it can pick up traffic and all that wonderful stuff, then keep an eye on that as well. But yeah, you have to prioritize, because even small sites, we have loads of articles, we have loads of pages and stuff. So it can be a headache, especially if you're in a small team.
So what do you do when Google takes away something from the SERP? You mentioned earlier on that Google have recently taken away the podcast carousel. I mean, did you suddenly look at that and go, I'm not going to podcast anymore. It's not worth it.
I had a little cry. No, I mean, like, what can you do? I mean, you can worry about it, have a little moan, but what's that word that I'm looking for? Pragmatic or proactive?
Okay.
Yeah. All these buzzwords, all these words that we could use right now. But have a look at how has this impacted you, okay? And have a plan for it. So, for example, with the podcasts and the carousels moving away, what can you do about that? You can't get Google to put them back in because it's their decision. If you find that you're not getting as much traffic or listeners, for example, for your podcast, look at ways that you can, okay, we're not getting traffic from here. So what can we do instead? Can we look into YouTube, for example, because YouTube carousels are still there. So just have a plan B. And also with my earlier example of the FAQ snippets from Google, when they removed, obviously you need some dev time and resource to put these things in places for your website. So what I'd always recommend is weighing up resource and reward. Okay. So how much time are these things going to take you? And is it worthwhile the reward? And also what happens if Google takes it away, sort of thing. So
yes. And as you say, there's always another opportunity in terms of driving traffic. It's not necessarily even directly in the Google SERP. If you're a podcaster, if you have your own podcast, then there are other opportunities. I mean, for instance, more recently, I found Audible to be a great up-and-coming driver of new listeners. And there are always going to be new opportunities like that.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And you have to, as an SEO or a marketeer or a digital marketeer, right, you have to be adaptable. Things change all the time. And things that were working for you won't necessarily be the same in a few months' time, in a year's time. So you have to sort of embrace change, embrace challenges, the new things that come up. Briefly going to say the buzzword AI that everyone's talking about.
I was going to say, talking about the elephant in the room, yes.
Yeah. Like, I know that there was worry around that.
Should people be worried about that in relation to their jobs? I mean, it seems like AI has the potential to take away a lot of what some SEOs are doing at the moment.
Yes. See, again, it's change. It's something that industry is going to have to adapt to. Okay. But I don't think there's anything to be worried about at this moment in time, because I've started using ChatGPT, for example, and it's actually helped me speed up my own processes or help me work more efficiently, let's say. And I've just been playing around. So things that I've been doing is, say that I'm stuck for a title for my next podcast episode, or I'm writing a blog and I really can't, I'm just got writer's block, can't think of a title. I go to ChatGPT, say, hey, this is what the article is about. Can you generate me some ideas? And then I've got some inspiration to work from. You can also do it. You can use ChatGPT to help you improve your writing. So something that I've been doing is, I know that I'm a blabber, as you can probably tell from this podcast interview.
No.
I'm a blabber, and I know that I am. So something that I've been using ChatGPT to do is make what I'm saying more concise. So I'm removing those filler words and stuff. You can help it to generate page titles, meta descriptions. Obviously, always check the work that ChatGPT is coming back with and spitting out. Sorry, that's an awful way of phrasing that word. But I think that humans will always be needed, but ChatGPT can be used to make our lives easier or make us work more effectively and more efficiently.
Absolutely. And the way you embrace change is you just review what you're currently doing in terms of processes and experiment just to see if a new technology like ChatGPT can actually positively impact you. And you've done it in a way that is relevant for you and suitable for you. And other people may find other ways of using that particular tool that fits better into their own procedures, their own way of doing things.
Yeah. And change is scary. I get it. And it is hard. It is challenging. But everyone else is in the same boat. Right. And that's another thing. And going off on a bit of a tangent, but comparing ourselves to others, I think that comes part of the embracing challenges and embracing changes, because you're not superhuman. You're not going to know everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, but you don't know what challenges and obstacles someone else is facing. And we're all in this together. And something that helps with embracing challenges and overwhelm and all this is being part of communities. So just want to do a shout out to Areej Abu Ali's Women in Tech SEO community. Obviously, there's other communities, because I'm aware that's for women in tech SEO. There will be other ones that other people can join. But being part of a community where you can have these honest conversations, and if you're worried about something or you've got a question, there are safe spaces that you can go and ask about.
If an SEO is struggling for time, what should they stop doing right now so they can spend more time thinking about change and embracing change in 2024?
Okay, if they haven't got much time, I mean, we all don't have a lot of time, do we? Let's be honest there. Going back to my earlier point on prioritizing content, right? Focus on take one content and always look at ways to improve it, because there's always opportunities to increase traffic to a page, get more signups or get more conversions. Okay, so that would be my advice. Stop what you're doing right now. Take your most important bit of content that's already working for you really, really well, but look at some more quick wins. What can you do with that content to boost its discoverability, get more traffic and get more signups? You know it's working well. What can you do to improve it even better?
Sarah McDowell is SEO manager at Captivate and co-host of the SEO Mindset podcast. And you can find her over at theseomindset.co.uk. Sarah, thanks so much for being part of SEO in 2024.
Thank you so much for having me.
I've been your host, David Bain. Get your copy of SEO in 2024, the book, over at SEOin2024.com.